Hey, everybody. So I just got back from Denver and just arrived home. Very interesting in the airport. Nobody wearing masks in Denver. Nobody on the plane wearing masks. So that was quite interesting. And if we look at the John Hopkins map, nobody in that area is being recorded as infected. Probably there are people infected there, but doesn't show up as anybody infected. So not a high level of concern in Denver. I'm back in Vancouver, Canada now, and of course, there's much more concern here. And what we see in the airport is more people wearing masks, so it's a little bit more normal to be doing that here. It seems like right now. So good for Denver that there's nothing there yet, but it makes me wonder if we're just not being careful enough when we're traveling through airports like that, because everybody's so relaxed and nobody's really thinking of it at all. It's really just an afterthought. So I think we'll really kind of see whether this is a good strategy pretty soon. Of course, we see in the news all the other countries being infected with the coronavirus. It's really ramping up now. I saw a really interesting slide today, and it was showing the mortality rates as far as percentage, because that's really the big talking point when people say, "Oh, are we becoming too concerned about it?" And so when we look at the mortality rate, people say, well, it's only 2%. It's just like the flu. And of course, there's a pretty big difference between this and the flu. But the important thing that I thought that I got out of the slide was the mortality rate differs depending on how old you are, and then of course how healthy you are. So if you're 80 years old, the mortality rate was actually really high. I think it was 15 to 20%. Which is pretty high. If I was in that category, I would not have a high level of comfort, and I would not want to get this at all. There's also more discussion around the organ damage that this does to you. So I don't know how serious that is yet for a healthy person, how much long-term damage there is. But I would really like to see more evidence-based studies on that, based on the autopsies that are being conducted. Also, a lot of videos out there now that I've seen that are talking about this coming from a lab in Wuhan. There's more and more evidence that's pointing towards that could be true. And I'm not a conspiracy theory person. I usually don't believe any of those. But I did see one interesting interview where the person said that they really hope that this is not from that lab. And there's proof that lab in Wuhan, which is very close to the market, actually at one point did have these type of viruses in it. So coincidence, maybe, but it just seems really, really interesting. So they said they hope it didn't come from the lab, because if it did, then it could be more dangerous than a natural virus. I don't really know, because I'm not a medical person in that area, but yeah, I just thought it was interesting. So Denver was totally fine. Coming back to Vancouver, I've only been back a couple hours, but I've been getting updates already that what we're starting to see now is people are going out, and just like I predicted, they're starting to buy stuff. And I've been buying stuff very slowly over the last month, and people now are really ramping up. So my wife, for example, went to Costco, and they were sold out of a bunch of things. They were sold out of a bunch of meats. They were sold out of flour, sold out of a lot of those things that people would buy for rations in case they need to quarantine themselves. All the staples. So, and also freezers, actually, which was really interesting. People are going out, buying big freezers, putting those in the garage so they can load it up with food. So, quite interesting. I think that's a pretty good strategy for people. Hopefully that's just food that you would eat anyways, right? So pretty interesting stuff. And so what I thought I'd do today, since everybody's going out there buying stuff, why don't I show you what I've recently bought? And I think I've shared some of this with you before, but so in other videos, I get a little more deeper into some of these things, just the basics, such as, wiping your hands with Purell and stuff like that. So I'm not going to get into that, although, I really think that if you're traveling these days, you want to have a little container of Purell. You want to have the handy wipes, the sanitation wipes, these things here, like little alcohol wipes. You can get the bigger package if you want. But you want to have stuff like that. You want to have your N95 mask if you can. Oh, lots of stuff in the news about that too, about how the U.S. is going to ramp up on manufacturing possibly to make more of those because they're all coming from China. And they've put actually a sanction on them now so that they're not going to ship them outside of China because they need them. So that's really interesting. I think that we're going to see probably the shift to manufacturing, right? Because a lot of it's done in China. If they can't produce what the world needs, then we're going to see some movements there. So a lot of discussions around the economics of what this is going to do to us and how it's going to change the world. And I think that most people are not thinking about that just yet. We saw actually in Japan, they're telling all the schools to have the students work from home. I don't know how widespread that is. I just heard within the last hour that that's what China has said is students work from home. We're closing the schools. So pretty drastic measure. Hopefully they have the infrastructure to support that. I think it's probably the right thing to do if they're worried about spreading, and because it's already spreading quite quickly there. So yeah, lots of stuff in the news. It's really ramping up now. We're really starting to see people take this seriously. Countries are taking it more seriously as we see things like Iran, right? Totally bizarre. Seeing high death rates in Iran. We're seeing a lot of infections there. People are saying that the numbers aren't right there as well. So yeah, just really interesting. So I'm watching this every day. So what did I buy? What's new here? So I got my new Tyrek suit. See, or how do you say that? Tychem? I don't know. It's that. Whatever that, however you want to say that. Tychem probably, because like chem for chemical. 2,000, which sounds like a big number, so it's probably pretty good, right? I know for the air filters, I was looking at 1,500 to 2,000, and my wife got some of those for the furnace. And you know, if we had to make masks out of them, we could possibly, but we were just worried about the air circulation of people coming to the house, right? So it's sucking air from the outside. We live in not a really densely populated area, so probably not that big of a deal. But you know, if you're going to replace your furnace filters anyway, we figured, why don't we just get some that are going to be good for filtering coronavirus? So that's what we did. So it's also 2,000. This is 2,000. This one's yellow. I showed you before. I got some white ones. This one's yellow. So if I never use it for this, which I hope I don't, it's going to be a good Halloween costume. So I'll wear this with my gas mask, and there we go. So I've been Jason for the last 4 or 5 years for Halloween, so I got to get a new costume anyway. So, before I forget, somebody said, "Hey, Rob, you're giving advice on how not to get the coronavirus, but you're sick," because I cough in my videos. I've had this annoying cough for like a month. It's terrible, and it just won't go away. I had the flu about a month or two ago, month and a half, I guess now, and I just got this little cough, just lingering. And when I talk, which I do a lot, it makes it worse. It aggravates it. So I'm not really sick anymore, but I do have a cough, and I do get I do have the tendency to get sick quite often because of how often I travel, and then also I have kids. So I think I get sick more from my kids actually, because they bring everything home, especially at the beginning of the year. So to the person who said that, you're right. I do have a cough, and but I've been pretty good for the last month because I've been taking all these measures and washing my hands, Purell, all those things. So this is my new purchase. This is what I got. Pretty fancy, right? It's reusable. So this was the thing. You can spend $10 or $20 and get a disposable one. This one was $40, and it's got the hood, everything like that. It's fairly big, so I couldn't find the size on it, but it's probably a foot taller than I am. So definitely going to be a little bit extra there, which is fine. But I can spray this with water, with a like a bleach water mixture, I think, and it's going to probably just bead off of that. It feels like it's not waterproof, but water resistant. If I got hosed down for a minute or two, it probably would leak. But I think I could reuse this a few times, spray it down, yeah. So $40, reuse it a few times, or $10 to $20 and just throw them away. So it's kind of large, right? So I thought, well, how am I going to fix that problem? Well, with this stuff, right, I bought some duct tape. And the reason I wanted to have lots of duct tape on hand, and buy whatever brand you want, I don't think it matters too much, because what I'm going to use this for is to tape up the suit if I ever have to wear it, right? Let's all hope we never have to wear these things. But if I did, I would want to tape it up with this and seal it. So the doctor who died in China, really the whistleblower, right? The hero of China, the guy who died there, from what I understand, how he caught the virus was he was wearing one of those suits. He mistakenly opened it up when there was a patient there that wasn't showing any symptoms, and so he figured that that's how he got it. It sounds like, right? So you want, even though if you may have one of those suits, you would want to use some duct tape and seal it, tape it up. You're going to put your boots on. You're probably wanting to seal that, things like that, right? So I wanted lots of duct tape around. And if one of my family members gets sick, I also want to set up a quarantine room where I would have, plastic and stuff like that, and kind of seal it off, have a bit of an air chamber there, have an air purifier as well, things like that. So I'm going to need duct tape. And I'm going to use it anyway. It's not like I'm buying stuff I'm never going to use. Well, the suit I may never use unless I use it for Halloween, but duct tape I definitely will. So I got 2 rolls this week. I have a couple rolls kicking around the house as well. So I got that. And then the other thing that I got that kind of goes with that is this. And so this is just a roll of plastic. It's just, you can see the details there. I just grabbed one that looked pretty cheap. I think this was $10, and you can see how much you get there, right? So you could use this for a bunch of things. If you go fishing, you can use it for processing your fish afterwards. If you do any insulation work, and I think that's what this is really for, is it's called pre-folded contractor's plastic. 9 feet, looks like, yeah, unfolds to 9 feet. Oh, 9 feet across, 90 feet long. So 90 feet, 90. That's pretty long. So I think it's for when you put your insulation in your wall, and then to hold it in, you staple this up against it. That's typically what I see this stuff being used for. But this would make a great, quarantine wall, right? So if you want to really partition your living quarters off, if somebody in your household is sick, this could be a good option, right? So for $10, I thought, why not, right? So what else? So I bought that. I bought a few things actually, and they all just kind of came in. So when I came home today, I had, a stack of parcels. I bought 2 more of these things, and it's kind of hard to see it there. Notice that it's in this plastic. I haven't taken it out of the plastic. It's a filter for my mask, for my ventilator, right? Respirator, rather. And so this is a, rather than just having the N95 disposable masks that you're going to burn through, and there's only so many of those available right now, right? And they're so expensive. This cost me $15, and it'll last for many, many, many hours. And it just screws into my respirator, and it's for me, this is $10. A mask, N95 mask, is almost the same price now, but that's disposable. This I can reuse for many hours, probably days. And it's P100, so that's the European rating. That would be similar to the N1000, or is it N100? I can't remember, but better than the N95 masks, right? So that's good. So I'm pretty happy about that. Air purifying cartridge. And so I kept it in the plastic, and that's important if you're going to buy these, is don't open them up, because once you open them up, then they're going to start to deteriorate. It doesn't have any sort of charcoal in it or anything like that. It's not designed for that. But I just don't think it's a good idea to take it out of this. I think it will deteriorate faster once you take it out. The other thing to look at with these is the expiry date. So it's stamped right on the side here, and it's 02/2026. So I've got a few years to use this. And again, if I don't use these to, when I have to go out shopping, if it's a quarantine type thing, then I can use these when I do woodworking or whatever else with my respirator, right? So not a total waste. We'll see if I do use those. So I have 3 of these now, and you can go online and buy them. The brand that I've got is Scott Safety, and the part number is 052683. And this is a 40 millimeter thread. The 40 millimeter thread is very popular. If you buy any sort of full panoramic mask, it's probably going to have a 40 millimeter thread. But make sure you check that. Make sure you buy the right filter for your mask. That's really important. Yeah, just go from there. So it's HEPA. Uh, it's the let me see here. It says here somewhere what it is, but it's got the HEPA. It's got the NIOSH. I don't know, but it's got that too as far as the rating. So I'm pretty happy with those. I think that would be something, and it's much more comfortable to wear that as well, right? More comfortable to wear the full panoramic mask. Also protects your eyes as well. So if we do get to the state where I'm wearing all this gear, that's going to be much better for me. So yeah, so that's what I've got so far. I also bought a couple of other things that I've not received yet. I bought one of those canisters that you see people using in China right now, where it's a container with a handle on the top, and you pump it to build up pressure within the canister, and then that allows the liquid that's in it to get forced out under pressure, and it comes out of a little wand. So if I want to disinfect things around the house, or especially outside of the house with that, say my car or things like that as well, I can fill that, put some bleach and some water in it, and then I can spray stuff down. So I bought one of those. It was about 12 bucks. So very affordable to do that. I can use it for the garden later, so I can use it for watering the plants, not with the bleach in it, but with just water. So again, a thoughtful purchase that I can reuse the product, and it was pretty affordable as well. That's not here yet, so when I get it, I'll show it to you. What else did I buy? Oh, I bought some more wipes. So you see, I've shown you these, right? These little alcohol wipes, and these are such a pain because they're so small. And then you rip it open, you get it out, and you've got this little tiny thing that you have to do this with. And it's just ridiculous. Like, why can't you make these bigger? It's just so annoying. But anyway, I've got these. What I bought was there's a larger container that you can get where you just pull them out, and it's actually a fairly big size. And then there's 60 to 70% alcohol in it, and so that's going to kill bacteria. So I bought some of those. I'm going to put one in my car. One when I come into the house, I'll probably use it there. But just for the next little while, especially when I come back from a trip. So when I come back from a trip right now, just because, I'm worried I'm going to bring something back with me. I'm going to bring it back into the house. I'm going to make my family sick. So what I basically do now is, it's not too serious, but I come in and I just put everything that I have, my suitcase and everything, kind of in the corner when I come in, and I just start throwing stuff into the laundry. Everything I'm wearing goes into the laundry as well. And then the next thing I do is I go have a shower, get everything clean, and just so that it's nice that way. I don't know about you, but when I come back off of a flight, especially a longer one, even a short one, like the one I did today was 3 hours, I get off of that and I just feel gross, right? It's so dirty. The plane was really hot today, so that didn't help either. But yeah, I'm kind of that way anyway, where I just need to get cleaned up in a hurry. So, but I'm even more careful now with my clothes, especially my outside layer, like my jacket and things like that. It's all going into the laundry right away. So that's pretty much it. That's all I think I've got to show you. Did I miss anything? No, I don't think I did. When I get my new stuff in, I'll show you that as well. When I travel, that's pretty much it. That's all I think I've got to show you. Did I miss anything? No, I don't think I did. When I get my new stuff in, I'll show you that as well. When I travel next, and then April, I have trips to Europe. Throughout March, I have trips to the US again. I'm going to go back to Denver. And then I'm looking at possibly going to Moscow in Russia. I'm a little bit worried about that because if they close the borders, if this gets a lot worse, I'm not sure how well that's going to be. Also looking at the UK and things like that. So I really want to go on these trips, but I'm just starting to think more and more that those trips may not happen. So taking it a day at a time. And so same with you, what I would do is just watch the locations. If you're going to be in the city center, then, you got to be pretty careful and yeah, just make your own decisions. But if you do go, I recommend all the things that I've talked about before: the hand wipes, the Perel, the face mask, the rubber gloves, all those things, and just wash your hands a lot and just be really cautious. So for now, anyway. All right, that's it for me today. Thank you very much for watching. If you want me to talk about different things, different product reviews, different cities, I've got a lot of videos queued up on locations that I've been to, where I'm going to go through and show you what I looked at, what the city sites are you should see. If you have questions, please let me know. I'd be happy to go over whatever you want to look at. So with that, all right, safe travels. Have a good one. Bye-bye.